The look in his eyes was terrifying. There was no emotion, no sign of pleasure or remorse. As the blood dripped from his chin, he caught it with his hand and lapped it up, making sure to get every drop he had taken from his victim. The lifeless corpse fell to the ground, crumbling to a dust that disappeared within seconds. The air was cold and the entire world seemed silent until a rolling laugh echoed from deep inside him, making my body tremble. The man who stood before me was no longer my best friend. He was a monster. I looked around at the others, those who had waited for this moment for almost 1,000 years. They looked like they were expecting something to happen, as if the events of tonight had been written in the stone that foretold of the prophecy. They were waiting anxiously, hoping that the centuries of work they had put in had finally paid off. I was starting to give up on the idea of something happening when the floor began to shake. The whole building vibrated, swaying from side to side, threatening to tear up the foundations beneath. Holding onto a chair, I steadied myself as the ground in front of me cracked open, spewing lava from the gaping hole in the earth's crust, rising until it consumed him. Mark was dragged into the middle of the molten fountain. The heat was overwhelming. My blood felt like it was bubbling beneath my skin that felt as though it was beginning to burn. When I looked back up, Mark was completely consumed by the lava. His body was rigid, and through the glare of the glowing liquid I could see that he was still in one piece. The lava was having no effect on him. He was still alive. How could he withstand such intense heat? Why wasn't he being consumed? I wanted to race forward to help him, but the heat from the magma was too much and I found myself struggling for breath, craving water and fresh air. I tried to move, but I was too exhausted. I collapsed in a heap on the floor and had to resign myself to watching what the others had called destiny. The lava flow was beginning to slow, seeping back into the ground. The sound of a woman's deep laugh rose from the hole echoing around the room. I managed to turn my head to see the other men with a look of horror in their eyes. They knew who the laugh belonged to, but I didn't have the energy to be asking any questions. I turned my head again just in time to hear a noise that sounded like something being sucked into a vacuum. The lava was being drawn back into the ground, and so was Mark. He was pulled down through the hole, disappearing beneath the river of magma. I stared in amazement as the remaining lava sank back into the ground, solidifying to reform a broken crust. He was gone, pulled into the depths of the earth by an unknown force, something even more powerful than the immortals who surrounded me. It took me a while to regain my bearings. My mind was working overtime. So many questions needed answers, and I wouldn't rest until I knew everything there was to know.